How is it possible for a country whose people struggle with hunger to have managed to build nuclear weapons and send rockets into space? This seems like an impossible equation, but the answer lies in a completely different and strange economy. Exactly in this video, I'll trace the complex revenue-generating network of North Korea for you. From things you might guess to things you'll find hard to believe.
In an ancient peninsula, two sisters were born with separate destinies: South Korea, with its gaze fixed on global horizons, and North Korea, sheltered by towering mountains. North Korea held neither diamonds in its mountains, nor springs of oil, only modest deposits of coal and iron, slumbering like hidden treasures deep within the earth. This insufficient treasure was a secret known to only one trading partner, the neighboring dragon, China. 95% of these resources made their way to the land of the dragon, while the remaining 5% fueled the engine of domestic industry. Years passed, and North Korea's fragile economy pulsed to this slow rhythm until a new chapter turned on the pages of history. During this period, a massive and secretive project was born: the development of nuclear weapons. One after another, nuclear tests erupted like a storm of fury, provoking the anger of nations. The last nuclear test in 2017 ignited global outrage and gave rise to the curse of sanctions. Even the Dragon of China, constrained by these sanctions, refrained from dancing with its old partner. The United Nations Security Council resolution cut like a sharp blade, severing the vital arteries of North Korea's economy. The ban on the sale of coal, iron, and seafood vaporized 95% of the national income overnight. The ancient economy sank like a shattered ship in a storm, and the shadow of famine spread over the land. Daily life became a struggle to find bread for the evening meal, and while nuclear stars glittered in the sky, people searched the earth for a morsel of bread. In the shadow of heavy sanctions, North Korean leaders contact China and say with a tone mixed with urgency, "Our iron and coal are piling up. Find a solution." But from the other end of the line comes the reply: "Your products are stamped with sanctions. If you want to trade, start the wig and artificial jewelry industry. Beards, mustaches, luxurious eyelashes, the world needs them." And so began a game that seemed to have emerged from a spy film. Real hair is imported from China into North Korea, transformed into luxury products in underground workshops, and then, like smuggled pearls, sent back to China to be distributed to global markets. China, like a mother saving her child from falling, embraces North Korea not just with under-the-table purchases, but by providing essential needs: rice, fertilizer, fuel, medicine. All arrive through complex and invisible routes. North Korean cargo ships release prohibited shipments like great secrets into international waters. Then comes the dance of the ships: 3 transfers, 3 flag changes, 3 times erasing their tracks. Finally, the goods settle quietly in Chinese ports. But what about the money? The money has another story. The Hong Kong and Macau mafias, with masterful skill, weave a network where money disappears, transforms, and changes, ultimately ending up in the regime's pockets. Behind all these tricks and displays, the people of North Korea are the silent victims of this game. 42% of the population lives in hunger. Malnutrition casts a dark cloud over their lives. And Kim Jong-un simply continues his grand game, a game in which his people are not even spectators. In the heart of North Korea, Pyongyang shines like a scene from a grand theater, its wide streets and colorful buildings meticulously orchestrated to present an artificial dream. Yet behind this beautiful facade, a completely different reality unfolds. With a tone tinged with hope and anxiety, the government opens the country's doors to tourists, hoping that the light of tourism might pry open a crack in the nation's bleak economy. But every tourist who sets foot on this soil involuntarily walks under the heavy shadow of fear. Even the latest and most ambitious campaigns to attract Russian tourists promising stays in luxurious hotels and visits to exclusive sites have failed to dispel this deep sense of insecurity. Many in Russia shrug their shoulders, furrow their brows, and ask, is it really worth the risk? If we're going to travel, we'd choose a place where we don't have to constantly look over our shoulders. The story of Otto Warmbier, the American tourist, circulates like a cautionary tale among potential travelers. After a few days of seemingly carefree exploration, just as he was about to depart, he was arrested his crime, taking a propaganda poster from his hotel wall. The security cameras had captured everything. He was thrown into prison and presented with an unexpected deal. If you don't want to face the harshest punishment, you must confess on camera that America is the real culprit. With a trembling voice, he did so, but astonishingly, he was sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. When he protested, wide-eyed, "I did what you asked, why aren't you releasing me?" he received a response that would forever be etched in the world's memory: "We forgave you. If we hadn't, we would have executed you." Months passed, and silence became that man's only companion. His condition descended into an abyss of darkness, where they stood helpless in the silence and decided to return him to America. On the flight back, he drifted between sleep and wakefulness, submerged in the timeless world of a coma world where time stood still and shadows sat in place of memories. When he arrived in America, a brain scan revealed a bloody secret. A crushing blow to the head, like a silent enemy, had taken his brain captive and abandoned him in the deepest layers of the subconscious. A vegetative life, a lifeless shell of what was once a vibrant past. There was no more pain, no more hope, only mechanical breaths and the nostalgia of tearful gazes from those around him. In the end, his mother and father made the decision to gently extinguish the light of his life, not out of impatience, but out of respect for the one who no longer inhabited that shell. In the digital shadows of the world, where lines of Kodak like superheroes or villains from science fiction tales, North Korea plays the role of an invisible, yet immensely powerful conductor. Here, raw programming talents are not discovered in competitions or prestigious universities, but in underground rooms and secure centers. Any teenager or young person who shows signs of cyber genius becomes a member of an elite group, a group whose mission is to attack the greatest financial fortresses of the 21st century: cryptocurrency exchanges and digital wallets. This is another revenue stream for North Korea. Why have they chosen cryptocurrency? Because here, money is no longer just a number in a bank account. It is a string of code that, if stolen, vanishes like a ghost, with no police force able to recover it. This is the very weakness that North Korea has turned into a strength. The story of the Bangladesh central bank heist was just one act in this grand performance, an act that left the world in fear and awe, demonstrating that this behind-the-scenes player has completely changed the rules of the game. But the numbers make the story even more epic. In 2024, these hackers managed to steal nearly $1.3 billion in cryptocurrency, a figure that, for a country under sanctions, is like discovering a legendary treasure. Even more astonishing, more than half of all global cryptocurrency thefts that year were carried out by this group alone. For North Korea, these stolen cryptocurrencies are far more than just money. They are the key to purchasing freedom in a global market that has closed its doors to the country. With these digital assets, they can buy anything from advanced technology to essential goods without leaving a trace. This is not just an economic tactic, but a tale of digital espionage where code is the weapon and cyberspace is the battlefield. In the heart of the thick fog, secrets and dark narratives loom like a heavy shadow over North Korea. Where to breathtaking and almost unbelievable stories rise, the devilish art of counterfeiting banknotes and underground smuggling networks that seem to have crept straight out of a spy film. North Korea counterfeits $100 bills with such mysterious skill that it seems as if the invisible hands of financial wizards are at play, 99% identical to the original. So precise that even advanced machines and the sharp eyes of experts sometimes fall into the trap of this delicate illusion. These counterfeit bills, like silent ghosts, make their way to the glittering casinos of Macau, where they are laundered behind roulette and poker tables, quietly infiltrating the bloodstream of the global economy. It is said that this operation yields approximately $25 million annually, a figure that may not seem astronomical at first glance. But any increase in it winds a time bomb that, if detonated, would provoke the wrath of the United States. A superpower that cannot tolerate the slightest disruption to the global financial system. But the legend does not end here. Behind the scenes, another story is told of methamphetamine smuggling through diplomatic channels, diplomatic bags filled with forbidden crystals, passing through borders with immunity like an impenetrable armor, distributed from the country's scattered embassies around the world. Some say this trade ceased in 2006, but unofficial evidence suggests the continuation of this underground business, and in the latest chapter of this saga, North Korea has opened another revenue stream by sending weapons and even soldiers 20,000 to Russia for the war in Ukraine. Soldiers likened to modern-day slaves, unpaid, provided only with food and shelter, deployed in construction projects in Russia, Laos, or China, while the North Korean government receives $1,000 per person monthly. This ambiguous world, where truth and illusion intertwine, remains one of the most mysterious and thrilling geopolitical stages of our time. In the heart of mist-shrouded mountains and valleys where time seems to stand still, a dark secret flows. A stream of black money, through underground and invisible channels, slithers like a creeping serpent into the heart of Pyongyang. Yet this sinister treasure never reaches the people who live in the shadow of military parades and red flags. 90% of this immense wealth, which could have transformed a nation, is funneled into a roaring war machine. It funds the development of deadly weapons, pays soldiers' salaries, and sustains the luxurious lives of the ruling elite. And just across the border, a breath away, another world shines brightly, a world where, by global intelligence metrics, South Korea is recognized as the second most intelligent nation on Earth. This duality is painful. People of the same genetic roots, with a shared history, now stand at opposite poles of the world. If you look at a global intelligence map, East Asia glows like a crimson star centered on China, Japan, and South Korea. But the North is plunged into utter darkness. Imagine if this vast energy and resources now devoted to building missiles and expanding the military were channeled into industry, technology, and education. Without a doubt, North Korea could have become an economic superpower today, a fierce rival to its southern neighbor. But the reality is this: an authoritarian communist regime with such intense security obsessions and isolationism that even historical examples like East Germany pale in comparison. This story has deeper dimensions, too. After the collapse of Nazi Germany, Stalin dreamed of expanding his Red Dominion as far as northern Japan. But the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which forever changed the world, disrupted the power equations. The fear that the U.S. might drop the next bomb over Moscow at a time when the Soviet Union had not yet mastered this technology forced Stalin to retreat. Thus, Japan was spared the grim fate of division. The Americans, recognizing this exceptional opportunity, moved with astonishing speed to rebuild Japan. Not merely out of generosity, but to create a bulwark against the spread of communism. The result was what the world came to call the Japanese economic miracle. Just 15 years after total devastation, Japan emerged as an economic giant and naturally expelled communism from its society. But the Soviet clouds did not rest. In 1949, they successfully tested their first atomic bomb, forever altering the power game. Now it was the Korean Peninsula's turn. It was as if fate willed history to repeat itself. The Soviet Union, having lost Japan, was determined not to lose Korea. The invasion began from the north, the US intervened from the south, and a bloody 3-year war ensued, ultimately dividing the peninsula into two halves. Today, the result of this division is starkly visible: a brilliant, wealthy, and advanced south, and a north in complete isolation, even lagging behind its communist counterparts in Laos and Vietnam. This tragedy of division is the sorrowful tale of two sisters torn apart in one land. Well, we've reached the end of this mysterious discovery, but now it's your turn. The big question is, if North Korea's main source of income were cut off tomorrow, which would be the first stronghold to collapse? Its seemingly invincible military system, its massive construction projects, or the loyalty of the upper echelons of the party? What's your answer? Share your thoughts in the comments right now. If you found this video interesting and don't want to miss our future videos, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Every like from you is like telling us, well done, keep it up. and multiplies our energy to create more detailed videos. Every like from you brightens our path to uncovering the world's hidden corners. Here's to a brighter tomorrow for everyone.